to my channel. This is my third car vlog. I'm having so much fun doing these. If you notice, I have a lot of bags in the back because I'm on this mission to kind of get rid of like at least 50% of my possessions. I just feel like I have so much stuff, like so much stuff that I'm, you know, overwhelmed by stuff. So I just want to get rid of some stuff, you know? So I read through the comments about topics, and one came up that sort of mirrored a topic that I've been wanting to do a regular video on anyway. So I thought that we would talk about sort of biracial beauty and my experience with that. Someone asked if I experienced any bias with regard to the wig wearing. And so I just wanted to talk about my experience in general. I would say, so my mom is white, Polish family, and my dad is black. Honestly, I've only seen my dad twice. So I was raised by my mom and her family. It's a huge Polish Catholic family. My mom's the youngest of 12, 13. And there's just so many, I can't even keep track of them. Something's wrong with my lash. So, and there's just so many cousins, so many this. Like, everywhere I go, people are like, oh, you're my cousin. I'm like, okay, probably. But because of that, I went to a white high school. There were 5 minorities, I think, when I was going to school, like in this whole school. So from the beginning, I've always been different in general. So in terms of like bias or not, I've always been different. I've always been very weird. So I'm not sure that I would necessarily pick up on any bias specifically because of my wigs, because, you know, I feel like for the most part, people just accept me for being different and they expect me to be different. So me wearing wigs is probably like, oh, it's just another thing Tia's doing. And I feel like when I share the reason that I wear wigs, I can see people shift and change and become more understanding. I think, like, you know, how people were wearing wigs before, it did seem like maybe it was like a taboo thing, or, you know, if you were going through like a chemo treatment or what have you, you didn't necessarily want to advertise the fact that you didn't have any hair, especially for a woman. I mean, our beauty is so attached to our hair, it's unreal. But yeah, I don't know that I've really experienced bias specifically because of my wigs. If I experience any bias, it's just the fact that I'm biracial, and, you know, it's different. It's different now than it was. When I was growing up, that just was not a thing. It wasn't acceptable. You know, I was born in 1977, and it's funny now, and I'm single, and I'm on Facebook, and people are coming from high school, and they're like, oh, I always had a crush on you in high school. And I'm like, really? Because I couldn't get a date to save my life. And people would say, I really want to date you, but my parents won't let me. So that was a real experience. You know, I didn't have the J-Lo's or the Halle Berrys. I didn't have any of those people to look up to in terms of color and beauty and acceptance on that level. You know, the women that I was looking at were Christy Brinkley and Christy Turlington, who I still think is like the most beautiful woman on earth. I digress. And all of the women in my family look very alike. I mean, you could interchange kids and nobody would even question. So because I look so much like my dad and a lot like my grandmother, you know, I guess I always felt like I stuck out or I was different. And maybe because of that, as opposed to making me like feel bad about it, I just super leaned into it. I'm like, you think I'm different? You think I'm weird? I can get weirder. How about I get weirder? And so that's just my thing. And I'm kind of like, take it or leave it. I'm 42 at this point. I I'm not going to be different in terms of, you know, this is my skin color, this is who I am. You know, if I meet someone, and like I said, I had dated someone recently who didn't necessarily, they don't love the wigs because they feel like I'm prettier without them. That's totally fine. But they're not saying like don't wear the wigs. I don't know if someone said don't wear them like ever because I'm uncomfortable with them. I guess I think that's not my person then. That's not the person that I should be with. I think that in general, men seem to have more problem with my nose ring. It's either one or the other. They love it or they hate it. And my tattoos. I have a lot of tattoos. I'm getting more tattoos. I'm pretty tatted up. If you want like sort of a video on, what's the word? You know, like a show and tell on my tattoos, I can do that. But in general, like that's something I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not. I've tried to fit into all kinds of boxes and molds my whole life, and I haven't been able to, and I'm okay with that. So at this point, for sure, I'm not doing it. If I'm with someone, I will be adaptable to the things they like or don't like, and I am like that. I mean, if you're with someone and you know they absolutely hate a certain thing, like I don't think it's necessary to constantly do it in front of them. But if it's really ingrained as something that's, you know, part of you as a person, I'm not willing to change that. You know, I have been married more than once. I've been married 3 times. I've been engaged twice. And oftentimes I feel like men like me for a certain thing. Like they like either the funny part of me, or they like the glam, or they like the weirdness, or they like the intelligence, or whatever they think. But there's few men that have been in my life who have accepted me as a whole person, and I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that where, like, my third husband was really attached to my looks and the clothes, and just, it, you know, it was too much. And I felt like he never saw me outside of that, like I was a Barbie or something. And I'm not Barbie. Although I do have a Tia Barbie, so I can share that too. Like I legitimately have a vintage Tia Barbie, and she looks just like me, which is very weird. Anyway, so yeah, in terms of the bias, and again, if people are saying stuff behind my back, look, if you're talking about me because of my wig, then it's okay. If that's the worst thing that happened to me that day, then I'm fine with it, because you need to get over it. It really reflects that person's insecurities more than me. So, okay. But yeah, so that's a little bit about biracial beauty and bias and all of those things. So, I'd like to hear, like, you know, not just about biracial beauty, but have you had any biases, whether it's about wigs or your dress or the way you look or anything? Like, what biases have you experienced? I'd like to read about them and chat with you about them. And yeah, if you have any other topics for car vlogs, please put them down below. I'm really enjoying doing these. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you have, thank you so much. You know, I really appreciate you. I'd appreciate any likes, comments, shares, any of that or none of that. And I just enjoy doing this content, and yeah. Oh, and this cutie is Sensationnel Maryam. I do have a review either up or coming up, because, you know, I pre-film. My initial thoughts from that video have not changed, but I've been worrying her so much that I definitely have more thoughts about her than what was in that video. So, I'll probably be doing an update on this and some other sensational wigs sooner rather than later, because I do have some very, very specific thoughts. One of them, and I don't know if I actually said it in my video or not, but one of them is the fact this wig cap is very, very big. It's so big, and I love the wig though so much that I may try to alter it so that because it's too big. which is good for people who are looking for those larger wig caps. I know that that can be a challenge for some people, but it's definitely large to the point where you may need to alter it because of that. So, I mean, that's a plus for some people and a minus for others. You know, it's life. But anywho, I already did the whole thing. Thank you. Like, subscribe, share, whatever. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!